This is going to be the ring text project in CS3, although I would like it to be CS4. And as you can see on screen, I have already opened the ring asset folder next to an untitled project, which I will quickly save right to that folder on my desktop. As you read in that PDF file, which is only text, it says to open a new project, create a new composition, and make your settings NTSC-DV, which is 720 by 480 with a frame rate of 29.97, as we discussed in class, and a duration of 15 seconds. So I've already got it open, and I'll go do what it says to do. So let me go do a new composition. As you can see, it doesn't even tell you the name of the composition yet, so let's just leave it as new composition, 720 by 480, NTSC 29.97 and 15 on the frame rate. So now that I have that opened, let's go to number 2. It says import into After Effects the following items. If you look over in my folder on the left here, I have the big space one, and I'm going to command click the spacey theme one, and I'm going to also command click the Earth PSD, and I'm going to allow the alpha channel to come in with the Earth PSD, which it already did come in. Now if it didn't come in and you wanted the alpha channel to come in, you could always right hand click and say interpret footage and go to the main window, and you see up here on the main window where you can actually ignore the alpha channel or have it straight and unmatted and keep the alpha channel, but that's okay. I'm just going to leave it. We're going to go through this kind of quickly because this is not a really hard one, but I want to show you a solution when this one's over that's going to enable you not to do all the hard stuff I'm about to do, and it's going to use the 2 3D layers. But I want you to do it the hard way first, so you do it the easy way second, all right? Because I want you to learn both ways. It says to bring the Earth PSD into the timeline, scale it to about 70%. Now what I want to do, and what I should have written, is that I want you to show your title safe area up in here, and I'm going to cascade this out to the full screen so that you don't need to see the asset window anymore. And I'm going to show the title safe area here, and you can see where I actually want you to keep the Earth inside the title safe area. So just for the time being, I'm going to leave it on, and I'm going to drop it down here, and you can see the Earth is just too big, so I'm going to hit the S key for scale, and I'm going to scale it to about 70%. Now 70%, and I kind of want you to see that the Earth, and I didn't also write this down, but the Earth came in an aspect ratio that I want to change, and I'm going to fix it by going to square pixels. The Earth looks like an oblonged egg, which if they keep the greenhouse effect going, it'll probably be that way. But let me go to interpret footage main, so I can do it one of two ways. I can click on the Earth up here and right hand click and go to interpret footage main, or I can leave it selected and go down here to interpret footage, way down here, and main. And you can see how down here it has square pixels. I need to make this 0.9 to fit the NTSC requirements. So I'm going to go fix the aspect ratio, and now you can see what the Earth snapped to on screen was a much better Earth. Okay. That was 70% approximately. I have it as 77. Anywhere inside the title safe area. In fact, I will make it 70, but that's going to be just a teensy-weensy bit too small. Actually, it looks pretty good. Before I go any farther, I am going to save this as Brian Ring, and I'll save it into that same folder that's on the desktop, which I've called my Ring Asset folder. So every few seconds I'll hit that. Save command. It says layer new solid. Now by now you should know, or I'm going to show you once, that layer new solid is command Y. So let me hit command Y and go to layer new solid, name it rotate text. And I know that all of these rotate text names that are going to be coming up, and this is rotate text 1, and then ring text is going to drive you nuts, but what would life be like if I didn't drive you nuts? So I'm going to go to choose a color, something like medium, dark blue, or purple. Now you'll see why I'm choosing a color. I'll choose purple this time so I can just get through with this. And you can see that I've chosen the solid. It says to make it comp size. Dark blue, use oval command shift. All right. It wants me, after I start drawing, to say OK on it. It wants me to come in with the oval tool, which is up here, and I'm going to switch the rectangle to the ellipse tool, which is the oval tool, by the way. And I'm going to start in the middle, but as I start in the middle, I am going to actually hold Command and Shift after I start dragging. See how I'm starting to drag and now I'm holding Command and Shift and now it's making a pretty circle. I'll let go of Shift and I'll actually just eyeball it to be about the size of the circle, a little bit bigger than what the Earth is. Okay, and I can fix it in a few minutes because I'm actually going to take away the color of it. So it's not written in stone. You can always use the transform to fix it. All right, which is Command T. And even in my handout, I say make it slightly larger than the Earth. Let me hit Command S to save. It says make sure rotate text 1 is selected in the timeline, which mine is, and press the M key to display the mask property. Set the mask mode to none. So I'm going to toggle the mask mode open again, and I'm going to set the mask mode over here to none. Now you can see that it's really just, I don't want it acting as a mask in this case. So let's go ahead and we're going to go leave it selected in number 6, and it says go to Effect, Stroke, and Render. So let's go to Effect. I'm going to have to change this because obviously Stroke isn't there anymore. It's Generate, and over here it's going to be Stroke. So I'm going to make a notation of that and I'll fix it before it's done. I'll go over here to Effect, and this is Generate. And I've got it done. Okay. Now as I go into the stroke palette, Effect, Generate, Stroke. It says, and please do this in the order that I give you. It says over here, if you can look over in my effect window, it says mask to path to mask 1. Paint style is on transparent. So let's go to on transparent. Now you can see that I haven't really drawn that mask very well over the Earth, but as I said, we'll use Command T and we will fix it. I'll make this slightly bigger so we can see it just a little bit better. And let me go like this, okay? It says brush size to 15, from 15 to 25. This is your choice. This is going to be the thickness of the ring as you want it, all right? And I'm going to leave mine somewhat like that. I'll go 22. And here I'm going to say color of the line. Mine originally was golden brown. I'll just keep mine as a gold color, which is okay. Now, actually, I'll change it real quick so you can see something to a blue. So you can see that the color of this yellow here, I'm actually going to fix it with Command T. So I'm going to hit Command T right now, and it's going to allow me, I actually, what I have to do is I have to transform the path. Now watch what I'm going to do. Command T was going to transform the layer. I'm going to click on the path down here in the timeline. Once the path is selected, Command T now works for the path. Did you understand that? Because it's really important. And I'm going to make sure that I'm at least somewhat symmetric around my planet Earth, which I think it looks much better now and it's much more symmetric. So now I hit the return key and Command S to save. Next thing. Now it wants me to go to Effect, Text, and Path Text. Type the desired phrase in uppercase, and I tell you that the bullet is option 8. So it's going to be Effect, Text, and Path Text. Now I'm going to type in Brian I'm going to type it in uppercase. Brian is a Star Trek fan. Now I'm going to go marquee this, hit Command C, take this and go space option 8 and space Command V, and now I want a bullet at the end, so it's really going to be a bullet that's going to be between each of the lettering. So let me go space and option 8. Now the text that I have here, I'm going to change to trade winds down on the bottom. That looks good, and that's fine. Trade winds medium looks kind of like a Trekkie thing here, and let's go to bold. Trade winds ultra. That's too much. Let's go to medium and say okay. Now what I get is something that's not on the stroke, so I have to tell this to actually be on the stroke. I will have to adjust the point size, tracking, and baseline shift in order to fit the ring. My settings in the effect control window were. Now it wants me to actually tell the custom path to be mask 1. Now here's where I don't want you to get all freaky on me. look over here in the effect window. I'm going to tell it before I even do anything that the custom path for this is mask 1. So let's go custom path to mask 1, and now it shoots itself around the actual mask. Now, I've already got this facing the right way. I don't have to say reverse path, see? All right, because when I tilt this, it's going to read towards me, which is what I want it to do. So I tell you that in the item here that in the list of bulleted items that I chose Helvetica Black, character size 23, tracking 4, if desired. I'm going to leave mine exactly the way it is. Shape type to circle, and it says that I must do that first. Let me see if I, whoops, maybe I have to go backwards and do this. Shape type to circle. Ah, and then I have to go mask 1. Okay, well, I'll see if I had to do that first. I'm not quite sure I did or didn't. But alignment left is okay. All the way down here in paragraph, alignment left. Select composite on original so I can actually see the ring. See way down at the bottom here where composite on original is there? Now I can see the red lettering on the blue field, which is okay. I'll leave it like that. And it says now adjust baseline shift and adjust vertical scale. So it's up to you. I'm going to go to baseline shift and I'm going to move it up and down. You can see I can position it nicely in the center. Now I'm going to open up the tracking so that the one bullet comes closer to the other bullet. Look at how I'm close. I'm close. All right, my tracking was 36. Let me manually put in 35. And that's pretty good. That's not bad. And I'm happy with this. And I'm happy with the size of it. So it's fine. I'm going to let it go and hit Command S to save. That was a lot to do in those two, number 7 and number 6 was a lot to do, and if you have to rewatch that, be my guest. And we'll go on to number 8 right now. It says to animate the phrase, to make it move around and around and around the circle, you have to look to your timeline down here. And in the timeline, I'm going to click on Rotate Text 1, and I'm going to open the paragraph options under the effect here. So I'm going to click this and I'm going to hit E for the path text. I'm going to open up the paragraph option down here, and on the paragraph option, let me move this up, and I'm actually going to change this to fit up to 100% so I can go down like this, and you can see that now I can actually get to my timeline and let you see that on screen. I'm going to set, and the timing of this is up to you, and I'm going to turn off title safe now because I'm pretty sure that everything is going to be okay. I actually do want you to see that I have a little bit of black up here showing above the ring and a little bit of black showing below the ring. That's good because when I tilt it, it won't mean that it will cut it off once it gets into its 3D perspective. As I said before, at the home key, I want you to set a keyframe at 0 on left margin. So under number 8, you click the stopwatch, and now I go to the end key, and now it says set a keyframe at -2000. Now that's going to push the beginning of the line for however many units it did, and it's going to turn the text visually, but all it's doing is pushing the beginning of the sentence. The farther or the faster I go in time, it goes faster. And it rotates. Okay? So Command S to save. And now it says, make sure Rotate Text is selected again. Let me compress this up. And now let's go to Effect, Perspective, Basic 3D, which when you do the real 3D thing, you might actually want to turn this off. But let's just continue to do it. So Effect, Perspective, Basic 3D. And I tell you in the Basic 3D, make the tilt, not the swivel, but the tilt, -65. And I'm going to manually type it because it's faster. Okay, now that I've got it to the right thing, it's a little bit too much. Let me go to a little bit less, like that. So I'm going to keep mine at 60, not 65. All right, the next page is number 10. Let's go make sure Rotate Text 1 is selected in the timeline and go to Effect, Perspective, and Drop Shadow to see an edge on this very thin ring. And I'm also going to I'm going to grab it with my arrow tool, selection tool, and I'm going to move this up a little bit so that I can see the top of the Earth and the bottom of the Earth. All right? And imagine when it gets put behind there, it's going to be very cool. I actually don't like the color that I have chosen for this, so I'm going to grab the blue and I'm going to make it a white ring for now, just so you can see it very well on screen, and hit Command S to save. Make sure Rotate Text is selected. Go to Effect, Perspective, and Drop Shadow, as I said before. So Effect, Perspective, and Drop Shadow. And as fast as I can, I'm going to make the drop shadow have a much deeper thickness to it. So let's go to a distance of a little bit more. I had it at 5. I want to go to a straight up and down 180 degree size, so it's giving the illusion that it's shooting. And I'm going to go to an opacity of 100%. And I'm going to turn the color of this into a bluish gray, a bluish black. So let me go up and choose a bluish black, and then go down with this so it looks a little bit cleaner in its thing. And 13 was too much. Let's go to 10. That looks pretty good. Now I have a thickness to this ring, so at least has some body. Command S to save the file. I did tell you on there in 4 bullets, change the opacity to 100. For the shadow color, you can sample anything you want. And then I have choose the distance to 6. I never listen to myself, but this time I will. I'll put it as 6. That's fine. I'll leave it as 6. It's up to you to make it what you want. Make sure Rotate Text is selected in the timeline under number 11 and go to Pre-Compose. Now here's the thing. I want to separate and have myself cut this into 2 pieces and then put a mask so that you can only see the front of this ring in front of the Earth. Okay? Now, think about it. I have to have part of it underneath the layer in the timeline of the Earth and part of it on top. Right now, Rotate Text is only on top of the Earth. So I'm going to click it, and I'm going to go pre-compose this, and I'm going to name this one Ring Tilt. So notice how it's ring tilt and only ring tilt 1, and I say please click move all attributes into a new composition and click OK. The next thing it says is with ring tilt selected, use the rectangle tool and drag a mask. So let's go to click the rectangle, think about halfway, and drag a mask for this half. Now watch how simple this is. The next one says, let me shut off the effect window up here and move it over. Now, what I need to do is click away from everything. I need to click on ring tilt in the timeline and hit Command D to duplicate. I now need to move that one lower in the timeline. Now all I have to do is hit the M key and click the inverted button, and now you can see how I'm looking at, I'll turn off the other ring tilt. Look at how it's just the other side of the ring outside the mask. Now all we have to do to really be finished with this is duplicate the Rotate Text composition and take away the stroke so all you see is the lettering. Now that's really what we need to do. We need to put one of those above the Earth, make a mask, and put one below the Earth and make a mask. So ring tilt is finished. I'm going to compress ring tilt. I have to actually add an opacity to actually take it away between the 6 and 7 mark. So I could do that now, or I could do it later on both of these, so that the ring fades out and only the lettering shows up. In fact, let me see where I have it. It says 712, 6 and 712. So I could do it. I'll wait a minute to do it. All right? I don't want to go too far ahead of you in this. So click back up to the project window. Do you all see that ring tilt is a composition that is up in the project window? I'm going to click it in the project window and hit Command D. It now is automatically named Ring Tilt 2. I'm going to double click it because now a copy of it has given me Rotate Text 1, which is the same Rotate Text 1 before, but this is one now is in Ring Tilt 2. All I have to do is hit the E key. In the E key, I hit the stroke. In the stroke, instead of actually having the composite on original on, all I have to do is have the composite on original off. All right? And that one will show me, in fact, this is interesting to show you, I don't see composite on original here. Now I remember that only in the effect control window, watch this, only in the effect control window will I find the composite on original, which actually was underneath path text. So let's go to path text and uncheck this so all we see is the lettering. Believe it or not, the lettering still has a drop shadow, which is very cool. Now, all I have to do is click back to Comp 1. I'm going to turn off the ring tilts completely. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to grab the new ring tilt 2, which doesn't have the white ring showing. I'm going to put one of them above the earth. I now have the lettering above the earth without the ring. Now think about it. All I need to do is take the mask, cut the mask halfway just like I did before, click away from everything, because you don't want to duplicate it without selecting away or you'll just make another mask. Click on ring tilt 2 and hit Command D. Put that one below the earth but above ring tilt. Click M for mask and hit the inverted thing. Now, I have a ring tilt which shows all the way through. Look over here. Look what Brian did. I actually have this thing. I didn't hit the home key when I brought it over. It's not a big deal. I'll hit the home key now. I'll grab this and I'll shift click this in and I'll shift click this in and I'm back to where they are in the beginning. Now between 6 and 712, set opacities. Now don't lose your mind here. I'm going to turn everything on. I'm going to turn the ring tilt off. Forget the ring tilt exists. The one you're seeing on screen, I want to fade out between 6 and 712. So let's go to 600. Let's hit compress all of these up so we see nothing on the layers. Click ring tilt and command click the other ring tilt and hit the T button. Let's leave them both selected and click the stopwatch. It makes 2 stopwatches at the same time. Let's go to our 2 keyframes. Let's go to 712. Let's now take and click 0 in the 100, hit the return key, and now it made it fade out for both the top and the bottom. See? Now let's line it up exactly to 6 and let's reverse the process. So I'm going to turn off the ring tilts, the visibility for them. I'm going to compress them. I'm now going to click away and I'm going to show the ring tilt 2 and show the ring tilt 2. Click on the first one and command click on the second one and guess what? Hit the T button. Now I'm going to hit a stopwatch. One of them, since both of them are selected, I made 2 keyframes. But instead of 100, I want them to say 0. Now you can figure out what I'm going to do. If I click this and go to 712, now I put it in and I click one of the zeros, I make it be 100, and now where one fades out, the other fades in. And that is the first movie, and I want you to watch the second one because I'm going to start from here and I'm going to make this into a 3D environment where I didn't have to put half of it above and half of it below the Earth PSD file. Thank you. But before I leave you, I'm going to ram it so you can see the whole thing. So let's go like this. Let me make this a little teensy-weensy bit bigger. Let me hit the 0 button, and there is no audio. If I had the audio there, that's fine. Actually, you know what? Let me just throw the big space background back there. You can see now, ooh gee, I have a big space background. Let me hit S for scale and make it big. And I'm going to make it go down in size because I want you to see something. Just for fun, watch, just for fun, I'm going to take this and click the P key. What does that stand for? Position. I'm going to click this with the selection tool, and I'm going to move this one way over to the left, like this. And I'm going to click P for position, stopwatch. I'm now going to hit the end as an END key, and I'm going to move this way over to the right, just so the space moves behind him as this thing is rotating. Now I'm going to hit Command S to save the file, and I'm going to add the audio layer anywhere in this, just so he has an audio layer. Whoops. I need to hit the Home key and add the audio layer, and now let's see what happens. I'm going to click the period button. Alright, now you can hear this, and it's the spacey theme that I have to fade out at the end. So I'm going to go to the 14-second mark, and I'm going to fade this out. And I'm going to hit L for audio. Normal audio level is 0. So I'm going to click the stopwatch. Look over here where I'm circling. It's at 0. I'm going to move it way over to the end, and I'm going to grab the audio up here, and I'm going to move it down to negative 48. Actually, it's negative 60, which is fine. Negative 48 would have done it. And I can put in negative 48 here. That's no big deal. I had set my parameters over there to negative 60 because that truly does mute the audio. Let me hit Command S to save the file. And now, even though I don't have a fade in and a fade out on this, I could actually make one more composition. One more simple composition that I could call my fade in and my fade out composition. If you give me a second, I will do that. If I go to Composition, New Composition, and call it Final, this one isn't in the handout, and I have to fix the handout, but I'm not going to write this down because I didn't require a fade in and a fade out, but let's see if you have the guts to do it. I'm going to bring now the Comp 1, which is everything in there, and put it into this Final composition. Now all I have to do is hit the T key. Set an opacity at 0 with a percentage. Move it up just a teensy-weensy bit, like to 1 second or so, just manually, and put it in at 100. Now I'm going to move it to about 14 seconds, and I'm going to click that little Add and Drop Navigator button, Add and Remove, and now I'm going to move it to the end. Now what that did with that, hit the End key, that pasted the last keyframe I used right there at about 14 seconds. Now all I have to do is hit 0, and I'm fading out. So Brian truly has a fade in and a fade out. As you can see that I'm dragging, I have a fade in and a fade out right here, and now I will truly ram this, and then after I ram it, I'll let you listen to it, and then I'll stop the file. This is blazing speed now. Brian made a mistake. I didn't set the RAM resolution to half. I probably should have. And it is skipping 1 frame. If you people look up there, you can see it's skipping 1 frame, and the frame rate is 30, which is fine, and it's getting near the end, and I'm really trying to delay this talk so that you don't get all bored with me. I could tell you a joke, but I don't think you would like it. And it's almost to the end, and let's just watch it fade out, and life is good, and yes, I am a Star Trek fan, and here it comes, and now you can hear it. There it is. Now, that's really moving fast as far as space goes, but you know what? That's the way it goes. I could slow it down by not having it move as much, by resetting the big space. But that's it. I'm done. Thank you.